I can see us walking, and it was just droves of us and droves of people meeting us. I can remember sitting, and I can remember looking back. As far as I could see, there were people. No matter which direction I looked, masses and masses of people. And everything was just fine.
It was just mind-blowing to see how many people were packed into this particular, you know, we've taken that road hundreds and hundreds of times before that, and you know, you just pass Yasgur Farms and you see that beautiful red barn, and that scene is gorgeous, and to see it that way is, you know, it's just sort of emblazoned in your memory. It's just so different, but it's amazing that it happened.
Just to see the expanse of people just kind of blew me away. And you know, I'm trying to be cool. You know, I don't, you know, you never let them see you sweat, but I was like, man, oh man, where are we going to eat? You know?
The intentions of the Food for Love people was that we would serve food and beverage for the entire festival. Well, you know, if you know the history of Woodstock, everything was altered and canceled because of the horrendous thunderstorms that we had from the second day on and off. So we were actually only open and in full swing an afternoon, an evening, and a beginning of the next morning.
Every 5 minutes there was another rumor going around at the original Woodstock. And those rumors were everything down to you can't get in, you can't get out, the highways are closed, it's impossible, it'll take you 5 hours to get out of here, there's no water, there's no facilities, it's a disaster area, they're sending in the National Guard. Just about anything and everything that could be a rumor was said that day, and it didn't matter because we were all there and we were all together and we were all one.
The chain link fence, I can still look down and see this chain link fence on the ground and thinking, there's no barrier to keep people out. I'd not experienced that before. And what a wonderful thing that it was just come.
But Woodstock was all about all of these people cooperating and getting through that weekend together. And what they say, there was one birth and one death, and it was a universe of its own, and it will never be repeated again. But, you know, of course, for a new generation, they become new festivals for their music, but there'll never be another Woodstock.
The life changer for me, of course, was looking back and realizing here was about 1 million people gathered together. No fights, nobody was grappling over who had what. Everybody shared everything. There was peace in the air. People were joyful about the music, they were joyful about where they were and who they were with, and we looked around and for the first time in our lives, living the kind of lifestyle we were as hippies, freaks, call us what you will, we could see a lot of us, and we could see a lot of us around us and in the crowd and in the eyes of the people that were there.
Woodstock was the first time I actually felt that I belonged to a group. It was an awakening for me to realize that there were 500,000, 750,000 people just like me with the same attitudes towards life. So for that reason, it changed my life at that time. All of a sudden I felt like I belonged to something, which was later termed the Woodstock generation.
The lead up to Woodstock was kind of interesting. You know, we knew that we were going to play, but when we committed to doing it, there were supposedly like 25,000 people going to be there, and then you know 2 weeks before there was 100,000 people going to be there, and then a week before there were 250,000 people going to be there, and the day of the show, a lot of people. When we first saw the amount of people that were there, we kind of had a little trepidation about doing a song like Guinevere, for instance, which is just one guitar and two voices. But I believe our experience, particularly mine with the Hollies, you know, we had a bunch of hit records before I ever met David and Stephen. And David's experience with the Byrds and Stephen's experience and Neil's experience with the Buffalo Springfield probably put us in good stead for handling a crowd of that size. And what you do kind of is concentrate on the first, 20 or so rows that you can actually see, and then try and project, knowing that, the 300th, 400th, 1000th person can hear you just as well as the people on the front row. And that's something that we had to learn to do, and we had to learn to do that very quickly.
The stage itself was a Rube Goldberg event. The catwalk to the stage was something that you didn't feel really confident walking on, but the spirit of the event was starting to build. And everybody was kind of like in a wait and see mode because no one really understood what was going on, which I think is a good thing.
We kept getting bumped. It was supposed to be Saturday and then Sunday. We didn't go on till second to last before Jimi, but we almost didn't go on at all because they went to Jimi Hendrix Sunday night and they said, Jimmy, close the show because everything is a disaster. And he said, no, there are some acts that haven't gotten on and been here all weekend.
The group that seriously probably changed my life was Santana. They came on stage and I hadn't heard anything like that before live. It was just amazing to me. I had never, to this day, I don't think I've ever gotten that set out of my mind.
The Who came out, and there's gorgeous Roger Daltrey with his golden hair like a prince, and he has this fringe jacket on, and he stands up and he goes, and I'm gonna get the four lines wrong. I can't remember the lyrics, but you know, see me, touch me, feel me, whatever, da 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 da. And all of a sudden, the sun comes out behind him. He's golden, his hair is golden, and everyone freaked out. We were clapping, it was amazing. And he played that song.
The word golden is always associated with 50, right? The 50th anniversary. We are golden. There's an exhibit, I think right now at the Woodstock Museum, We Are Golden. For me, what does that mean? It was a little bit of a golden experience for me. I kind of get that. It was golden then and it's golden now and it should be treasured. I think that's why 50 is considered a golden anniversary. It's precious, it's rare, it'll never happen again. Golden, I think, means all of those things. That's what it means to me.
In retrospect, we can say this was a wrinkle in time. It was a confluence that could not have been planned. And though in today's terms, it would have been a there would have been a spreadsheet with 25 tabs and all the contracts would have been solid and all the logistics would have been worked out. None of that happened. So it was a living organism. Woodstock 69 had a life of its own.